Every stage in your dance studio business growth brings with it new challenges, new opportunities, and yes, new headaches. Today, we're going to check in with Vicki, a studio owner in New Jersey who just a few years ago decided she wanted to start building her studio business. As she did, she started to find success and attract new students. But those new students brought with them a problem. Let's check in with Vicki and see what she did and how she solved that problem. All right. So, Vicki, just so that I have it on record, tell me a little bit about your studio, kind of the name of it, where you're located, just, a few of the most salient details.
Sure. It's called Kids Gym and Dance, and we are located in Lambertville, New Jersey, and we've been open since 2018. We
Awesome.
do, yeah,
No,
we
go
do
ahead.
primarily tumbling and all forms of dance.
Okay. So, I want to just ask outright. So, you are a client of ours. You work for us. What product or service have you purchased from us?
I use the automation system for my coming from my Facebook.
And when you were out there looking for a solution, what prompted you to say, I need an automation system?
Well, I had lots of leads coming in, and it was getting very difficult for me to keep track of who was where on, in my pipeline, so to speak, because I was doing it all manually and all on paper. And that they say that's the best way to start. And I thought I had it down, but I felt like some people were falling through the cracks. Oh, I missed to send them this reminder text 24 hours before. And then, oh, I should have sent them a text this morning to remind them about a class tonight. And, you get 10 people and it's just like mind boggling. And it's like, okay, I need something to like automation to do this for me because I can't keep track. I can't be texting 20 people, an hour before their class, especially if I'm in the middle of teaching, which I happen to teach one day a week. So that's what it was. It was just an overload of all the trials and people coming in that I needed something to turn this over so I have more free time to do what I need to do.
What was going through? I'm curious. What was going through your head that even put the idea of automation out there? Because I'll be honest, a lot of studio owners don't even think about that. They don't know that that's a solution. How did that cross your plate?
Right. Well, a lot of other studio owners that I'm friends with and Facebook groups and stuff have talked about it. So, and I've looked into it. And early on, when I first started, I was like, I can handle this. I can do this. I don't need automation because they were just trickling in. But once my Facebook ads took off and I started getting more and more leads, it was kind of starting to like my basket was filling up. And I was like, yes, okay, I think I need to really start looking into some kind of automation because otherwise I'm not going to get these people in the door because I'm, letting go of them. They're falling through the cracks, as they say. So that was my thing.
And now that you have a system that allows you to that's automated, that allows you to easily follow up and keep track of people in your pipeline, what is that allowing you to do in your business?
Finding have more time to prep for training my teachers, which I have coming up this season, doing other office work that I wouldn't have had time to do because I literally would be chasing my tail, trying to catch up with all these people and just monitoring my Facebook ads and all the other day-to-day things that need to get done. So that's what I feel.
So, Vicky, when you were before you started working with us, before you had a system in place, early stages, you're thinking, I need a system, I need some automation, I need to make my life a little easier. What were you hoping kind of your ideal automated system would do for you?
Basically, it would when I get the lead, it would kind of talk to them and ask them a couple questions about what they were interested in or whether they've ever had any experience. And then it would be of where I would put them in a class and then it would do all the follow-ups. Like remind them 2 weeks before, remind them a week before, remind them, 2 days before, remind them the day before, the hour before, just something to constantly keep them on my mind, keep me on their minds. So that way they know, oh yeah, that's right, we have a class. Because I admit I get busy and if I don't book it into my calendar myself to remind me that I have to do something, it's gone. So I understand that the day-to-day life gets crazy. So that's what I needed. Something that would send them those reminders and do all the follow-ups.
So before you put an automated, I want to take kind of a step back in time. Before you put a system in place, this system, kind of the
Right.
studio accelerator platform in place. Um, what was your process? What were you using to keep track of new
It
leads?
was, well, for my trials coming in for my, what I call my 11-step enrollment process, which was the reminders and the SMSs to get them to actually show up. It was all paper and pencil. I mean, that's what worked for me. Just having that notebook, and I would write them down the day they were coming and the class they were going to trial, and I would kind of manually write, send a reminder on this date. And then, believe it or not, funny enough, I would put a reminder in my phone on my calendar. Text so and so they have a class on next Friday, and then another reminder, text them the day before. Like I needed those constant reminders myself just to remember to remind them. So yes, it was a mix of my phone calendar beeping in my ear or pencil and paper.
Now, I imagine that works fine when you only have a handful of students, but as you start to grow, that becomes, and as you've said, overwhelming. I want to step back in time again, and just so here you are, you've got your combination of your phones going off, you've got post-it notes, sticky notes all over the place. Tell me the story of, if you can remember, the moment when you were like, okay, it's time.
Um, Probably the middle of this past year, like January, is when things really started rolling, and we were starting to get more and more of them in. And I was like, "Ooh, okay, this is getting crazy now," because I think I lost a few people that slipped through the cracks, and I was like, hitting myself over the head, like, "Ah, I didn't remind myself to remind myself to remind them," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is crazy," you know. So I need to figure this out, and I need to find something. So, and I had tried like a VA for a short while, but that didn't work out. And I was like, no, I just need an automated system that when that phone call, or that, not phone call, but that lead comes into the computer, that they say, hey, welcome to Kids Gym and Dance. And it just kind of just does what I would do, maybe with me having that little initial conversation in there to say, oh, well, we have this class and this class because we have lots of options. And just to ask some other specific questions regarding, whether they've done anything specific. Can they cartwheel? Can they not cartwheel? So I like that, still that one-on-one conversation with them, to really feel them out and let them know who I am and who they, get to know them. But so yes, it's just got to be, crazy. So I'd say about January.
So once you decided, you kind of made this. So, I mean, awesome. Congratulations. The studio
Thank you.
starts to grow, and you realize, okay, I need an automated process. Tell me about your process. Like, how did you go about finding that solution, or someone to fill that solution for you?
Right. Well, I knew of you guys because I knew you had done some Facebook ads and such, because we had a conversation probably 6 months or so prior. But I really had, Facebook ads down in the niche of how to do that. And I was able to bring people in. And then it was like, well, what's out there in automation? And you have people throwing you this person, that person, all these ideas. So you're kind of left, looking them up and trying to find them. And it was really hard to find something that was, to me, that fit my needs. So, you either Google or you go to Facebook and people recommend this person, that person. So, having known of you guys, I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, well, let me just ask Christian and Bryce, because I'm sure they have something, they're tech savvy and they do all these Facebook ads. And so I don't know if it was you, I reached out to Christian, like, do you guys have an automation system, something that'll help me with this enrollment process or what have you? And I think I checked out one other person who had said that they had one, but it just really wasn't fit for me. It just didn't feel like the right fit for me. But once I talked to you guys, it felt like, yeah, they get me, they understand me, they know like I live in this rural area. I feel like you guys understand that, how my studio runs and how I run it. So that was the decision for me.
So, and I'm curious, once you kind of settled on, like, I need automation, I've talked to Christian and Bryce, you guys have a solution. Was there anything that was any anxiety or apprehension to saying yes and let's do this?
No, to me it was like, cool, let's go for it, because I need this. I wanted to stop and think about things before I jump in, but I'd already kind of processed it in my head a bit as I was doing my research. And I was like, I know I need this. I just got to find the right fit for me. And the one or two others that I looked into just didn't get the right vibe and just didn't work for me. So having known you guys and get to know you a little bit more, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what I got to do. And I got to jump and go, because, if I don't, the boat's going to take off from the dock and I won't be on it. So I felt like I needed to jump.
So you've mentioned a couple times that you looked at other solutions. What was the number one reason, if you had to narrow it down, that you selected working with dance motion marketing?
I would say just the camaraderie right off the top. Like you guys are a little more, you listen to what I have and where I'm located and what my needs are. There wasn't that pushiness of like, ah, yeah, we could do this. You don't need, just I didn't get that tension vibe. And I am a controlling person myself, so I like to have some control, but I understand my market and where I am, and I felt like you listened to where I am, what we're doing, what our population is, and so that I think was helpful. Whereas others were just like, "Oh, we can get you 3,000 students, no problem," and I was like, "Where are you going to get them from?" I'm in a rural area, so that to me was a little off-putting because I don't feel like they stopped to really listen to where I am located and where my studio is and what it's doing. So that's where I feel like that camaraderie right away. You guys were listening. You took a moment to process what I am doing, what I need. So I felt like that was the cincher for me.
Oh, I love that. Well, thanks for sharing. Now that you're using the platform, you've been using it for a while, you're experiencing pretty amazing growth and success. Um, how does it meet your initial expectations?
I like it. I like it a lot because I think it's perfect for me because I get that initial um, question that comes in to find out if they've had any experience and they respond to that. And then, so it's like, I can get a conversation going right away with them. Most people do respond to, is this your daughter or son's first experience with dance or tumbling? They either say yes or no, or they might give me a little backstory. And then I can lead from that into my own text conversation or email conversation. And I love that because then I can really talk to them so they feel like they're talking to me, not a machine. And then I book them and immediately they get a confirmation. They're like, oh, wow, and I always get thanks for the quick response, and thanks for the quick, update. And they love the fact that immediately they get the confirmation and they're like, oh, this is great. Can't wait to come. And they respond right away. And so we still kind of finish the conversation on a personal level, but they see it like bing, bang, boom, we're good to go. It's not like waiting for a phone call, waiting for an email, so I feel like that instantaneousness of it is what's great for me.
I love that. If you had to, and you do this, but if you were talking to a studio owner who's a friend who is experiencing growth like you're experiencing growth or feeling that overwhelm, and you had 2 minutes to say, listen, you've got to talk to Bryce and Christian, you've got to use this platform, what would you say?
Basically tell them if you want to take something off your plate, this is what you need to do. The automation system gave me like more free time to do other things. It was less headache, less for me to worry about. And it's kind of like you just got to jump and go because I know I was hesitant at first thinking I could do it all on my own, but I realize now like, wow, I should have done this like 8 months ago. So I've been trying to tell people like this, you need automation. It makes a world of a difference because people like that instant. We live in a world of instant gratification. So when somebody fills out a form, they don't want to sit and wait 5 hours for you to respond. They want to get a response back that, oh, great, we're so glad that you're interested, and so they like that quick response. And so I just tell them this is a great thing. You have to do it. It's a no-brainer.
Well, I think so. I'm inclined to agree. Because we're always looking to improve what we do, is there any part of the enrollment process or the automated follow-up process that still keeps you up at night? That you wish this, I wish it did this. I wish your platform did this.
Not specifically. To me, it has fulfilled my needs, and I feel like I don't have restless nights over it. Because I actually like just this morning, 10 o'clock last night when I was in bed, I had somebody, fill out a form and it came through in the morning. 7:30. I see that they, got the email saying, hey, is this your first class? And if they didn't respond right away, because they might have closed up and gone back to bed, I responded, hey, just want to follow up. Is this their first chance? Is this? So I really don't have any sleepless nights over the automation process. I feel like it's working while I'm sleeping. So,
That's exactly what it's designed to do. So
and
I'm
it's amazing how many
thrilled.
people will at 2 or 3 in the morning fill out my form on my website and come into my automation system. I'm like, okay, I guess they couldn't sleep.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking some time just to chat with me and share your story, your win, because I know you have been growing like mad. Do you want to, before we wrap up, do you want to actually tell the story of how you have grown, like what your growth journey has been like?
It's been great. I mean, starting out with 7 students and then like a year later growing to like 21. And I was like that for a year, and then I went to 35 the third year, and then it was like to 50, and then I got to like 80, and then my goal was 100 by this past January, and I met that goal. And so we finished out the season a little on the low side because that happens, but now we're on course to hit 150 students as we open our doors come September. So, and my goal is 200 by the end of 2022. So, being able to expand into a separate tumbling space instead of dance and tumbling in one studio, we now have a separate tumbling studio. So that's been great because our classes are getting so popular. So, yeah.
And when we met, the dance was a side business. Your 7 students was very much a side business, and you were working where?
I was working full time in the schools as a paraprofessional. So, yeah.
And how has that started to shift for you now?
Well, most recently I went to part time since my studio had grown and actually gave me more time to work on the studio as well. Having grown and then being able to have that time to grow it some more. So, and I'm kind of at that crossroads again, is like, do I stay part time or, what do I do? So yeah, it's, life is like that. It's forever changing. So you just got to balance it out. But yeah, it's been great.
I love it. So from 7 students in 2019 to the goal is 200 at the end of 22. Awesome. How fun is that? I love Vicky's story. It's such a testament of what you can do when you set your mind on a goal. From just an idea a few short years ago to now hitting and exceeding her goals, expanding her footprint, and hiring a staff to help support. If you're still watching this video, there's a high probability that you relate to Vicki, a studio owner who knows that to hit that next level in your business, you need to bring in more students, and maybe you don't know how, and maybe you're unsure of what you need to do to get there, but either way, you probably feel overwhelmed at the task of managing them and following up and getting them through the door. If that's you, I'd encourage you to reach out to our team at Dance Motion Marketing. First, head on over to dancemotionmarketing.com, take a look around, and if you like what you see, go ahead and reach out to our team. What's next is we'll schedule a call with you to just understand what your studio is all about. If we can help, we'll let you know. And if we can't, we'll let you know that too. So that's it for now. Have a great one.